be doing today is working on an altered surface. The fun of an altered surface is you don't always have to know where you're going to start. You don't have to know what the end product is for you to have the surface already made. That's the fun in it. An altered surface can pretty much be anything and a layering of whatever you want. For this particular project, I've given you a variety of things in the back of the classroom that you can choose from. Newspaper being one of them. You've got black paper, a couple of different textures. This black paper has really kind of got a rough texture, which I like. There's some smooth textured black paper back there. There's some gray tone paper and some tan tone paper, a variety of those. And then I have some brown butcher paper, which is really fun. And it's got all these little, I know it's kind of hard, but brown butcher paper has all these little great things happening in it. Little pieces and specks of the fibers. So, how do we make an altered surface? Well, it's just about as simple as you could possibly imagine. You're going to need a glue stick, okay, and you're going to need all those materials. And honestly, it is just layering. It is just layering. Here's an end product one that I wanted to show you. This is one that's all finished and it's got stuff already on it. And this person did not know what they were going to do with their artwork, just like you guys don't know what they're going to do with their artwork, with your artwork. But this one has a drawing on the surface. You can see they decided to do some keyboards, and don't think that this is giving you any ideas about what you're going to be actually making on it, because it doesn't. But this surface has the texture. It's got some cool things going on, and so it's got all these different things layered. So how do we make an altered surface? Well, it's really simple. You start wherever you want to. I think I'm going to start with some newspaper, and I'm just going to rip me some chunks out, okay? I ripped a corner chunk, so I'm going to start gluing down that corner chunk there. You might want to take a look at the wording on your newspaper sometimes, because you never know, it might be a story on there that you don't want to have people seeing. You never know. I've had a kid do the obituaries once and didn't even know, and they were kind of like, well, that's sad. So, boom, first thing down. Well, after that, it's just a continuing layering, and so this is not something that you're going to want these really nice, pretty, clean, crisp edges. In fact, I'm going to rip a lot of this into more organic forms and not so much geometric. And I can just layer these things on top of one another. And I'm coating this really well with my glue stick, because you're going to want it to stick, and you're going to want some longevity out of it, because you're going to be moving and working on this surface. And then you're just placing. At this point, it kind of becomes strategic. What do you want next? You don't want an overpowering of everything. You want a good balance of layering. And so here I go with some black. And I want that black just kind of like right in there. Just a pop of it. And those rough edges from the rip, those are great. Leave them in there. I love that. I love those edges being kind of tattered and torn. I'm going to grab me some more newspaper. And I'm going to leave a corner there. I'm going to leave some geometric stuff going on right there. I might even let that kind of fall underneath right there like that. I like that. So, here I go. Coat my edges really well. This glue stick dries pretty quick, despite what you may think, so you kind of have to work pretty fast with it. Alright, I decided I wanted it to kind of do this right here. So, I'm putting it up underneath that and letting her ride. Okay? So I can come back with more. And I'm alternating. I'm not going to have, I want to balance. So now that I've got that grouping there, I'm going to want some more browns and blacks down here. Okay? Coat those edges really well. You You don't want frayed and tattered edges. Now I'm going to go for a ginormous chunk of black. And I'm going to let it come up from the bottom, like this. Guys, this glue that I have is purple, but it dries clear, so if I'm getting a little bit on my surface, it's not hurting my feelings. Just don't get so much on there that it's going nuts. You don't want a nuts composition. You want a uniform, flowing composition. Alright, I do have this awesome gray paper that I wanted to utilize, and I think I'll come up in this corner with it and start working down maybe with it a little bit. You don't want to go overly crazy. You know, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 materials that I'm using. You know, you get up into 5, 6, 7 materials, and it can get a little bit cluttered and clustered, and you don't want that. You want things to still feel as if they belong together. Okay, and so maybe at this point I want a little bit of black next to that. Maybe up there at the top like that, and then maybe I can put some brown on top of that. You want it to feel like it flows. You want it to feel like it's balancing. You don't want a whole bunch of newspaper over here and a whole bunch of brown paper over there. You want a good even balance of all of these materials. And then once you have it all done, I will let you know what we're doing with it next. But until that time, you have no clue. Again, I want to show you this. This is a finished altered surface that one of my students had done and left. They did not get it finished, and I guess that's why they left it. They came on top and drew on top, and you can see now that you can do things back on top of the surface. Notice that everything's balanced here. There's just as much black as there's newspaper, and there's just as much of this this little gray tone here as there is black in newspaper. So it balances evenly across the paper. There's not giant portions of one color or the other. So keep that in mind as you're moving forward. And I'm excited to see what kind of surfaces you guys turn out. So go altered surface away.